spotlight brightly on all aspects of the sports world. You got me, your host Rizwan. We got on the airwaves of Radio Azad, Shep and Manny. We back, baby. Y'all good?
Yep.
Doing good.
All
So,
right.
by the way,
What's up?
Arsenal did beat Manchester City 3-0
Oh
in
yeah,
the Community Shield.
that's coming. That's coming. I actually intended to make sure we focused on that for at least 5 minutes or so, maybe 10, to talk about that because that's big, right? I mean, it's back already. The World Cup fever hasn't quite settled yet, but it's back. But right now, we're gonna go back to the NFL. Wow, you know, I'm watching a highlight of Nick Chubb, that just a devastating run. It's the NFL, especially the NFL running back, is it goes so quickly, right? You can be a dominant force, whether it's No Sean Moreno, whether it's Nick Chubb, 2, 3, 4 years, five maybe, and then it's over. And that's why Derrick Henry is such a unicorn for what he's done, for how long he's done it. We'll come back to Derrick Henry in a second. Real quick, we're talking about the Buffalo Bills. So yes, I know, I know DJ Moore is not going to have 2,500 receiving yards and 30 touchdowns. I understand that, but look, he's gonna come close, right? No, look, if he can be Shep, as you were saying, if he can be a true, legit number one for Josh Allen, if he can get him, let's say, 100 to 110 catches, 12 to 1,400 yards, 10 to 14, 15 touchdowns. I think with the rest of with Kincaid, with James Cook, catching the ball out of the outfield, not to mention his running, with Khalil Shakir out there. I think that's what you need. You don't need a Randy Moss type. You don't need an 1,800 yard, 18 touchdown season, from DJ Moore. You just need that legit number one, you know, triple digit catches, 12, 1,300 yards, and double digit touchdowns, for this Bills team to be really, really effective. Your thoughts?
I was going to just add, I think the running game looked really solid as well. Obviously, in order to have a good passing game, you should have a running threat as well. So, what I saw from Ian Wheeler and Frank Gore, not to mention even McCole Hardman is now playing at the Bills. That looks good. I mean, they have a good running game. Josh Allen looked really comfortable with the wide receivers, and then even the backup. I think another Allen, Kyle Allen.
Kyle
He was
Allen.
what, 14 of 16 for 108 yards. So yeah, the Bills look good, man. You guys, I can say that even the defense, other than a couple of garbage touchdowns towards the fourth quarter, they held Carolina pretty much in check. So far, I felt pretty good about this game. I think everyone's playing on par with what's expected. And yeah, if DJ Moore can have, like you said, 100, 115 receptions in the season, as long as the running game is doing what they did, this should be a formidable team here in the AFC.
Look, we're 4 years removed from everybody saying, calm down. James Cook is not Dalvin Cook. He's not his brother. He's not going to be a dominant force. He's going to be a gadget guy. He's going to be a third down guy. And here we are, right? Rookie season leads. Uh, I think it was the rookie season, right? No, no. This he's had 3 years. So his second year, he led the NFL in touchdowns, and then last year he led the NFL in rushing. So yeah, the Bills have a legitimate running game, and if that continues, and obviously, Manny, you said you need the threat of a run game, to have a successful pass game, but the reverse is also true, right? It's a lot easier to have a run game when you've got Josh Allen back there, uh, terrorizing the defenses.
Yep.
So it goes hand in hand. But yeah, I mean, look, the Bills just need to At this point, they just need to stop finding out crazy ways of losing games, because they just ultimately, that's all it is. They keep losing games in these once in a, the one in a million shots, like Frank Costanza said, one in a million shot, Doc, with the Fusilli. But that 50-yard bomb that Knicks completed against that top pass defense that the Bills had last year, that allowed Denver to beat them last year. Whether it's the 13 seconds against Kansas City from 5 years ago, it's just over and over. They just keep finding ways to lose games. At this point, as much as it pains me to admit this, for the Bills, for Josh Allen, it's Super Bowl or bust, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's high expectations. Like you said, at least the last 4 years. So certainly got to get to the AFC Championship game, I think. But yeah, Super Bowl, man, how long have the Bills fans been waiting for that?
Since 1994.
So yeah, no. Super
I,
Bowl,
as a Bills fan,
you're
can
right.
attest. Since 1994. You said they've got to get to at least the championship. I think they've got to get to at least the Super Bowl. Now, I'm going to be heartbroken if they get to the Super Bowl and then lose again and break the tie with Shep's Vikings as the 2-0-4 teams in Super Bowls. I don't want the Bills going to 0-5, but I'm a competitor. You always want to compete against the best. You always want to compete for the best. So yeah, I'm not afraid of the Bills getting there and losing. I want them to just get there, and then hopefully win. But who else do you guys see? So look, the Chiefs are back as a legitimate, as long as Mahomes is back and healthy.
I want to see how their offensive line performs before I say that.
So, our friend Nick Wright, who's almost always wrong. I saw a clip from him. He was talking about Mahomes is back. Mahomes is a legitimate MVP candidate. The Chiefs are back. Chiefs are the favorites for the Super Bowl. And you expect that from Nick Wright. But Shep, I think that's an excellent, excellent point, right? Because even before Mahomes got hurt last year, that wasn't the Kansas City Chiefs of 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, the reason why they haven't won a Super Bowl since 3 years ago is because their offensive line is not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they got crushed by the Eagles 2 years ago.
Yep.
The reason why the Patriots got crushed last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, the offensive line is always key in these football games. And Josh Simmons is coming back, a left tackle, from an injury last year. So if he's able to protect Mahomes on his blind side, that'll be key. So it'll be really important to see how this team progresses.
Yep. All right. Super Bowl or bust, as far as we're concerned. Hey, I want to go to your Vikings, Shep, in a second, but I do want to spend a little bit of time on the Bears.
Yeah.
The Bears and the Browns was the preseason game. So look, I mean, the Bears are going to be who they were last year, right? I don't think the Caleb Williams that we saw last year was a flash in the pan, right? I think he's still going to be pretty good. That offense is still going to be Ben Johnson led and pretty good, maybe really good. But is there hope in the Windy City? Are they going to do
I
something?
think it depends more on their defense than their offense. I mean, look, if the offense collapses, okay, that's different. But so Caleb Williams seems like he's figured some things out with Ben Johnson as his coach.
Mm-hmm.
Though we'll see how his progression goes. I mean, I think he's still a little bit prone towards hero ball, that's great when it works. It's a disaster when it doesn't. But Johnson, he's so good at designing an offense.
Yeah.
And Williams' ability to buy an extra 3 or 4 seconds or longer to see who gets open, it adds a lot of stress to defenses. His progression last year, being able to read defenses and then just take off if it didn't work, but not take off to run, but take off to read the field. It did bother. Look, I don't think he's ever going to be the best quarterback in the league, but he may end up being a consistent top 5 to top 10 quarterback, which, look, as a fan of the Vikings, I do not want that to happen. Like, I don't wish still in the man, but I don't want him. I don't want one of my division rivals to have a 10-plus year starter locked in gold, right?
Yeah.
But for the Bears, they got some things to fix on defense. I don't know, Manny, Riz, what do you think about that?
I mean, the defense, they did hold that team to 10 points, but yeah, I think defense.
It's
obviously,
Cleveland.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's Cleveland.
It's Cleveland, and they have 1,000
no,
quarterbacks, none of which are any good.
Yeah, I think one of the rookies, Malik Muhammad, he looked fairly good on the coverage. But yeah, one of the reasons I think the Bears, I think they looked really good was that they have some of these preseason reps where they're able to keep the team off the field. I mean, not even getting, I don't know how many first downs Cleveland got, but they were struggling in the first half. So defense looks good, but you're right. I think it's consistent with this team. So far, Ben Johnson's calling all the right plays. And yeah, Caleb Williams, if he is able to have even kind of similar numbers as he did last year, they have a good chance to make some run in their league here.
To make some noise for sure. Let's talk about the other side, the Cleveland Browns. They've got this gift that just keeps on giving. So here we go. They had some youth movement. They had Gabriel. They had Shedeur Sanders. And now Deshaun Watson's back from injury, and he looked like the best quarterback on that team. Are they really going to do this? I thought they were going to move on with the youth. I thought the quarterback competition for the Cleveland Browns was going to be between Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel. And because they're the Browns, here we go. Deshaun Watson is in the mix for the quarterback competition. Is the Browns season already done?
Is it always? Yeah, sure. Why not?
It was done 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's just bad.
Who's going to play quarterback and produce anything remotely reasonable for a franchise that wants to win more than 5 games?
Yeah. I had my first fantasy football draft Saturday morning, and I went wide receiver heavy. I wanted to a little bit of a homer. So my first round, I got the 10th pick. First off, I got stuck with the 10th pick. So that's the price you pay for being good the previous season. So I actually got Jackson Smith and Jigba. Jackson Smith and Jigba, JSN at 10. So then I turned around and was able to snag James Cook in the second round. And then I just went wide receiver for a little bit. I got Garrett Wilson and Ladd McConkey on back-to-backs. So finally, I was in the fourth round. So my second running back is Quinshon Judkins. Is that his name? Yeah, I think Quinshon Judkins, the Cleveland Browns running back, who has looked decent, right? Has looked pretty decent, but it's the Cleveland Browns. And I didn't want to do it, but there was nothing else happening. So I'm gonna be cursed, at least for this team, following the Cleveland Browns this season. Hoping, unless I can swing some deals and get a legit second running back on this team, I'm going to be sitting there pulling for Quinshon Judkins and the Cleveland Browns. Ugh, not excited about that. But hey, let's pivot over to you. You mentioned, you don't want a division rival to have a franchise quarterback for the next 10 years because your division rivals. Your team is the Vikings. The Minnesota,
who've never drafted a quarterback that has worked is since the Super Bowl era. I don't think. I mean, maybe Fran Tarkenton. So back in the 60s and 70s.
I mean, are they at this point? Are they wishing that they had hung on to
Darnold?
Darnold? Yes, right.
They probably are. So look, letting him go allowed them to build up on both sides of the line of scrimmage, right? And the gamble, and look, J.J. McCarthy wasn't a huge gamble, but he was the 5th or 6th quarterback, I can't remember, taken in the draft. And so it looks like I've been wrong on McCarthy. Like he could be a slow developer. He's really young. He didn't play a lot of snaps in college. All those probably have to apply. But man, he drove the quarterback whisperer nuts last year to the point where he decided to bring in a rabid Call of Duty fan to play quarterback.
Who doesn't do homework.
Who had the homework clause inserted into his, so I'm super nervous. I mean, look, Murray, absent his height, he's got a great arm, super mobile,
good wheels. Yeah,
he produced at a high level for an awful franchise for the years where he wasn't hurt. So you got that, and he's got a better play caller and better wide receivers and probably better offensive line than he's ever had to work with. Right. So those are things that suggest that he could produce a lot of numbers. But I just don't know if I trust Kyler Murray after the first, second week in November. He seems to fade as the season goes along.
Hey, don't forget, you have Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Sorry, salt in the wounds.
Look, I think the Vikings are in the top 10 in win percentage in total wins since the Super Bowl era started.
Wow.
They're very rarely awful. Okay? But they are, with a couple of exceptions, especially since the cap era has begun, they haven't been special. And you need to be special as opposed to be good. And my best friend since we've been 10 years old is a diehard Vikings fan. And his family is the reason why I've been suckered into this gig. And his view is the Vikings need to have 2 god-awful losing seasons in a row to rebuild the whole roster, because he thinks you got to land a franchise QB to win the Super Bowl. I tend to think you need to land great offensive and defensive lines with a serviceable QB.
Yep.
He hurts Jalen, right? But either way, you got to have that either a dominant set of lines or a franchise quarterback. And the Vikings are good along the offensive line and probably slightly above average on the defensive line with not a franchise quarterback.
They definitely appear for the last 7, 8, 9 years or so, appear to be kind of like the Dallas Mavericks of the late 90s, early 2000s, when they were just winning 50 games every year, right? Advancing 1 to 2 rounds in the playoffs every year, and that was it. That they weren't bad enough to get some top talent. They weren't good enough to win it all until Dirk just decided that he was going to get it done himself.
One question on the Vikings, Chef. Do you think McCarthy still has, obviously he's only 23. You guys drafted him pretty high. Is he still going to stick around as a backup and learn under Murray, or are the Vikings just maybe going to trade him at some point?
I mean, it depends on, look, he's going to get practice reps this year. KOC's going to watch his habits. I think that there may be a personality disconnect between the two. I've seen some reports saying KOC was really bothered by a couple of the, not off field, but off play things that McCarthy did. So I don't know if he's going to be able to gain KOC's trust back.
I'm sorry, I was chuckling because Manny said, "Is he going to learn under Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's not learning under Kyler Murray.
Yeah,
What's he?
yeah, no, look, Kyler Murray is who he is right now. Like maybe he'll have some kind of maturation point where all of a sudden he becomes this film study buff and decides that he's going to leave a legacy of greatness. In which case, the Vikings fans will take it.
Yeah,
but it seems unlikely.
I tell you what, if he turns into a Darnold for them, right? That's the best case scenario, right? If we're talking about at the end of the season, we're talking about a Darnold-like turnaround and resurrection of a career, and maybe that's what the Vikings are counting on, that the quarterback whisperer can actually turn this guy into or convert the potential into reality for this guy who has languished with that potential with the Cardinals organization for the last 4 or 5 years. I do want to, something that really stuck out, and Shep, I really, you being the Vikings guy, I'd like to understand if I'm missing context here. So the box score for this game, unless you've been living on Mars, the Vikings have one of the best, if not the best, wide receivers in the game.
Which crushed you last year in our fantasy.
Crushed
because
me.
No one can get him the ball.
Yep. Justin Jefferson. So here's what the box score looks like for Justin Jefferson in this game. I understand it's the first preseason game, and to me, that's why it's more worrisome. 0 targets, 0 catches. Okay, cool. No big deal. It's the first preseason game. 3 rushes by Justin Jefferson for 0 yards. What are we doing? Why are we running?
They're playing. Look, the practice reports have all been that Murray is almost, single-mindedly focusing on Jefferson during practice.
Mm-hmm.
So Jefferson's going to get his targets this year. Now that Murray is QB1, I don't think that's the question. Is whether or not they're going to be smart targets.
Yeah, I'm worried about
Jefferson's going to get his passing target.
Of course,
deep down the field.
I'm worried about why are you running Justin Jefferson 3 times in the first preseason game? Like, what is the logic here?
Now that I don't know. It kind of reminds me of last year when it's a college thing, but when Levy, we were getting crushed by A&M, and Levy ran, what's his name, Fluff, at the end of the game. And he got hurt for several weeks. We probably lost a couple of games because we couldn't rely on him. And, he gave him a meaningless carry at the end of the game.
Yep.
It's kind of how I view running the ball with Justin Jefferson in the preseason. Why on earth would you do that?
Right.
It's really a head-scratcher. And it makes me question some serious judgment.
That really shocked me. You run him once, that's too much in the first preseason game, right? But 3 times? 3 rushes?
No, I don't get
it. It just did not make sense. But hey, Carson Wentz looked good for y'all. 9 of 14, 1 touchdown, no INTs.
I think there's a chance Carson Wentz is the backup and not McCarthy.
Oh, so coming all the way back to Shep, Manny, what you were asking, if that happens, if Carson Wentz is the backup, then McCarthy's done. If not in the NFL, definitely done with Minnesota.
Yeah, and then they have to look for trade value.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And I think that there's this smacks. Look, I actually agree with the idea of Murray if you want to win now over McCarthy, right?
Yeah.
He's certainly proven more in the league than McCarthy has, and McCarthy has some real inconsistency issues. But if you make him the third stringer, you've decided you have personally given up
moved
on him, and you get what you can get.
You've moved on. All right. Well, unfortunately, we got to move on from this segment. We're about 30 seconds late. Going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to finish out the NFL talk, and then the spotlight is shining on many other aspects of the sport. We're going to do some rapid fire stuff. We're going to touch tennis, touch maybe even golf, but definitely soccer. We're going to do all that in the last segment coming up. You're listening to the Sports Spotlight right here on Radio Azad.
This is Radio Azad, streaming in Dallas, Fort Worth, and